I guess. Okay, so hello everyone. Very happy to be with you this evening. My name is Michel Safar and we have
Anne-Sybille Pradelles.
Yeah, please.
Key account manager at Alsid and also a former student of HEC.
So we would like to start just a few minutes discussing a bit how students can jump into the entrepreneurship adventure and the different ways. And to me, what is very interesting is what we have with Anne-Sybille, her journey from HEC to the startup. So maybe first of all, one word. I'm a professor of entrepreneurship in the strategy department of HEC for 16 years. I'm an affiliate professor, and I also had in the past several companies and done a lot of things with startups and technology. So I run the MBA Specialization in Entrepreneurship, and Anne-Sybille was, is a former student of mine. And so tell us a little bit, what is your story?
Yes. So as I told you, I've graduated from HEC 2 years ago in Master in Management. And during my Master 2, I chose the MBA Entrepreneurship and Innovation Specialization. And in fact, I was involved in a startup project during that year in the cybersecurity sector. It was with CEA Saclay. And it gave me a first overview of the cybersecurity sector, but also the startup venture. And also during that year, I had some time left, and I decided also to do an internship in a startup called Cyber Angel in the cybersecurity sector also. And at the end of the year, I was convinced that cybersecurity was a very interesting sector with a lot of potential, a huge potential. And at the end of HEC, I take 1 year off and I traveled. And at the end, I had the opportunity to work at Alsid. And I joined the startup maybe around 1 year ago as a key account manager. And at that time, there were 3. So Luc here, CTO and co-founder. There was also Emmanuel Gras, CEO and also co-founder, and Romain Coltel, product owner. So I was the only business person. And I think it was really interesting to combine all these different profiles to manage the technical issues, but also the business topics.
Okay, so one of the characteristics of the MBA entrepreneurship track is that we work with labs. So with CEA for you, but it can be CNRS, it can be any, like Hôpital Necker, let's say, a lot of research labs. And so you had this opportunity, and my student, so MBA students in your case were Grande École students, often, want to be entrepreneur, and then the question is, okay, shall I start my company during the study at HEC? Shall I start after, or just after, or just wait? And my recommendation is always the same: if you are sure you want to do an enterprise, a company, just quickly, you can start anytime. If you have a doubt, it's very interesting to be at the C level, so it can be CFO, CTO, key account manager. But the point is that you need to report to the CEO. So you see what the CEO position is. And so then you make up your mind. If you like it, you can continue to be at the C level in the next venture, or you can say, okay, I think I can be a CEO later on, and then 3-4 years down the road, you are yourself a CEO. Or you can just drop and say, I prefer to go to Microsoft or Amazon. No problem. So the C-level position is a good alternative. Saying that to all of you, if you want to, have your own company, and just test yourself to know if it makes sense for you. That's why I think it's very interesting, because you're exactly in that position. Maybe in 5 years you'll be your own CEO. Maybe you'll be a C-level in the same company or in another.
I hope you will stay in the same
yeah,
company.
I'm sure. I'm kidding. But maybe you will sell your company for a lot of money.
We don't know.
And in that case, she might, with you again, create
You're
a new
right.
company. Right. So this is an interesting opportunity. And how was it in your mind at that time? Willing to create your company? Did you want to be an entrepreneur, like the CEO position, or what was in your mind and what led you?
So when I finished HEC, I did already some internships in very big corporations, banks for instance, but also in small structures, small companies like startup. And at the end of the day, I knew that I really wanted to join a startup, because I'm not the most corporate person I know. So, okay, maybe the startup was a better fit for me. And at the end of the project with CEA, I saw the potential of the project, and if the technology was mature enough, maybe I would have liked to continue. But at that stage of the technology development, it was maybe a bit too early.
Too early, you mean the time to market of CEA was too long?
Yes,
yeah.
Yes. But I knew that cybersecurity was a sector I really like. But me, I'm not a tech person, so for me it was perfect to join a project at the very, very beginning, because for me it was really important to join, yes, the beginning of a project, to see the whole development.
And also to, I guess, work directly with Luc and Emmanuel.
Exactly.
So we have the general manager and the CEO,
And the CEO.
in direct report.
Yes.
So you see, I guess, most of what happens to the company.
Yes.
You really can understand deeply and be part of the strategy some way too.
And more especially that than we work in a very small, not a very small, but in fact we work at Agoranov. I don't know if you know this place. It's a startup incubator in Paris, and so we have a small place for us, and during calls and I don't know meetings, we can hear what happened, and it's also really easy to, I don't know if I want to talk to the product owner about a technological issue, I can talk to him directly. So the communication is really easy.
It's a very good incubator.
Yeah.
Really.
With other former students of HEC.
So so you joined the company about 1 year after the creation?
Yes.
Do you still behave as a co-founder? No, maybe not the title, but do you feel like a co-founder of the company?
Maybe not co-founder, but I feel like I joined.
It's your company?
Yeah, a bit a part of my company also on the business part, because I'm much more on the sales and operation topics. So yeah,
so
I think
it fulfills. I'm sorry, your sense of being an entrepreneur.
Yes,
right?
of course.
So this
100%.
is maybe a message to those of you who want to have that feeling, is that maybe too many people believe that you have to be the CEO to have that feeling. And so it's not only the case, I'm sure Luc has the same feeling. And even if you join after, as long as you report to the CEO and everything in the company is at the beginning, you have that sense. Once again, it's a good alternative, my feeling, right? Great.
Yeah.
So that's about what I wanted to say. I'm very happy that you are in this company. I see you very happy to be an entrepreneur, and it's great. So maybe Luc, you can come now, and I'll leave the floor.
Yeah.
So good luck. And I had to say, because otherwise Carole will kill me, I forgot Carole, but this is the second edition of the conference of the Center for Entrepreneurship, SNO and Digital. It's good to know.
Thank
luck,
you,
guys.
Michel.
Thank you very much. So I'm Luc Delsalle. I'm the general manager at Hatseed, and I will have to talk a little bit about what we do actually at Hatseed, the product that we have been designing, and the way that we came from a product to a very profitable companies, and that is still growing nowadays. But I have to say, when Anne-Sybille came to me at the beginning saying that, hey, we should have talk in HEC, I wasn't really sure about that. you know, because I was thinking, Hatseed is still a startup. I'm not a billion-dollar company. I don't have facilities all over the world and everything. So I was like, am I really legitimate to talk to you guys about what we do and how we do it? And I was like, okay, maybe the things that we are doing is not the thing that I should tell you, because maybe we are doing it the wrong way. We don't know yet. We have been creating like 18 months ago, so we were very young. Yeah, we are experiencing a very a hyper growth, but we are still like at the very beginning of our story. But then I look around myself, and then I realize that in the cybersecurity field, we are kind of lonely. We are only few startups and companies that is working in this specific area. And it's kind of strange because the demand of our customers are very huge. There are so many gaps to fill, and large companies, which is the companies that we are working with, really needs to have innovations and new ideas to help them fix this gap. And we are really missing about new entrepreneurs to come and to take this gap and try to make some great product with it. So finally, at the end, I say, okay, maybe I should tell you our story to make you have the willings to create a company and work in our field of expertise. And I hope at the end of this talk you will say, okay, I need to create companies and work in this specific field. And you will see that it could be a very profitable way of like creating business. So I had a few slides to you. I will start by introducing the companies, and then I will talk a little bit about the issue we are trying to address with Alsid. And then at the end of the day, at the end of this talk, I will try to explain in a few words how you can make cybersecurity efficient and how you can make your data, your computer stuff more secure. There are very easy things to do that you can help you to be more safe. Because nowadays, I guess, you are not afraid of being attacked in the streets, or you don't be afraid of being like, I don't know, targeted by some physical attack. But on the cyberspace, I don't like the words, but this is the one that's used by people in our sector. You can be attacked almost every day, and like I think you heard about that in the press. You have like almost every day or every week large companies being targeted and compromised by attackers, meaning that we truly have some issues about being able to be resilient against attack. And it's something that working in our field, from my point of view, is really helping people to be more safe nowadays, to address some issue that is a crucial issue for large companies, because right now they don't have real good solutions to address these issues. And you have to realize it's even difficult for us to keep our data safe. We only have some laptops, I have a smartphone, and that's it. But for large companies, you have thousands of computers to protect. You have thousands of users' data to protect as well. You have many things that you should consider. And it's an international information systems. You have facilities all over the world when you are large companies. And being able to see where could be the issues in your companies, it's a very huge challenge, and it's kind of difficult right now. So I think it's interesting topics and that we should consider. But let's talk about Alsid for the beginning. So I'm the general manager, as I said. I'm also the co-founder of the companies that has been creating, as I said, during summer 2016. So for the 2017 revenue, we are almost at 1 million euros of revenues. I don't know if you realize that, but it's very nice success for us. We are only 18 months, and we are working with large companies. Our customers are mainly large companies or very specific companies that is working in the defense area, for example. But we need to work with large companies. It's really challenging for many, many aspects. First of all, I'm an engineer. I have I didn't have the chance to get a diploma from HEC. This is why I'm working with Anne-Sybille. She's kind of modest, but she's really creating our business model and make it work every day. So just to say that I wasn't ready to work with salespersons, like buyers in large companies. I wasn't ready to talk with C-level of these specific companies, because the person that acquire our product are directly from the board of these companies. So I wasn't really prepared about that. And being startups and having to work with these large companies could be really difficult for so many aspects. Let me give you one example. In France, you have strong regulations. You all know about that. And for the sales part of companies, when you have to acquire new softwares, you also have these strong regulations. And in large companies, you have even stronger regulations. And one of them is very, very, it's a large issue, it's a big issue for a startup like us. These regulations say that companies cannot buy products from another company if they represent more than around 60% of the revenue of the companies. Okay? So let's say I'm trying to sell my product to Total, for example. If Total, when Total give me the amount of the products that I just sold, if it represents more than 60%, there's a right, the law saying that we cannot make the deal. But think about a startup, a young startup like us. When we finally manage to have our first client ready to buy our product, the very first one, obviously it will be 100% of our revenue. So how can we do that? How can we make the deal? Because the regulations prevent us from doing it. How can we solve that issues? And it's a large issue. I mean, every large corporate will say that, oh yeah, I like startups, I want to work with them, blah, 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 blah. But at the end of the road, when they have to buy the product, they just can't. And that's a very major issue that we had to face when we created Alsid. So, tell you the whole story, you can find a way, but you need to have very strong support from C-level of these companies. They have to take a risk, saying that, okay, I will go against the regulations, I will make an exception for you, because I know that you will be able to find other customers by the end of the years, and finally at the end, the part of our revenue will be below 60%. But that's a risk for a large company, and they have to take it. If they don't like, if they don't want, they are not willing to take the risk, you will have a large issue. So our story and working with large companies could be really challenging when you are startups. But we are really happy to be able to work with them and have the ability to do it. So right now we are around 13 employees. We are still growing, but to be honest with you, it's the most challenging part of my job, finding talents and good talents, and be able to make them come working for Alsid. If I talk more about the technical part of my companies, I need very specific people that know cybersecurity quite well, like experts, but real experts. And those experts are quite rare nowadays. So you have very large corporates like Google, like Amazon, like Apple, Facebook, these kind of companies that are offering so much money and everything to these specific to these talents. So when I come to see them and say, oh, I have a very nice solutions, I'm going to talk about that later, that will probably redesign the way companies secure themselves. They say, oh, yeah, I like your idea, it's really great. But I'm sorry, guys, I have to make my life, and I have to be more comfortable. And then they choose Amazon and work for Google. So it's very huge challenge to find people and really good people that are willing to work with you. And I guess the thing that make the difference is the fact that they truly believe about what we do. The 12 people that are working here at Alsid think that they can change the way corporates protect themselves. They are okay to say, okay, maybe I will not work at the same wonderful place that Google can offer me. I can like reduce my salary or everything, but I know that there will be something that's gonna matter. At Google, at Apple, I will be part in team that will make great work. I'm sure about that, but I will not change something for good. And I think that this is the only way to attract talents when you're startups. You have to convince them that they can be something, they can be part of something which is bigger than them, and they can have like produce something which will be different. So this is how we can hire people. So 13 people. We are operating in 4 different countries. I mean, it's connected to the customers we have right now. As I said, it's like large companies. So by default, they are operating from all over the world. So right now, we are mainly working in Europe, but we also have some customers in the Middle East and in Asia. But it's just the beginning right now. But obviously, our goal, our strategy for the next year will be to internationalize our companies, because the issue that we are solving are not French issue or not European issue. It's something that we can provide to other countries in the world, and we are willing to doing it. But we don't want to rush about internationalizations. We think that we should try to make some solid assets on our natural market, would be the French and countries around France, and have solid revenue in that market to be able to address other markets like the American one or the Asiatic one. Because going to other markets requires to have a strong team, an experienced a business model. You also need to have also finance to support your development. So better to try to set up everything on your natural market where you can make mistakes, because a startup will do lots of mistakes. And then when you think that you are ready, when you think that you have your business model which is like working very well, you have a large base of customers that you feel that you can go abroad, do it. But you have to do it when you are ready. Obviously, it has to be fast. No, I'm not telling you that you need to wait 10 years before going abroad, but something that you should think before act. Something very important. And one numbers that we are very proud is the fact that right now we are protecting 1 million users by our solutions. Right now you have 1 million users that are protected against very targeted cyber attacks thanks to our products. And the best thing is the fact that they don't even know that we are here. We provide, talk about that later, a solution which is completely transparent for them. They just continue to work as they was like working every day before we deploy our solutions, and they just can use like information systems without having any issues, and that can prevent them from being very productive and very efficient in their works. Because one challenge that we have in cybersecurity is the fact that, you can make some very strong boundaries. I mean, everybody can do that. But if you add boundaries and boundaries and boundaries, at the end of the day, nobody will be able to use information system. Nobody will be able to use laptops or smartphone if they ask you to enter one password, then plug your smart card, then receive a text message, then filter some rules and everything. It will be so painful for you that you will just deactivate these kind of features. So the main challenge in cybersecurity is to be able to provide transparent security measures. I don't know if you noticed, but when I unlocked my computers at the beginning, I just had to look at it and maybe type some PIN code or everything. This is cybersecurity that I like. It's cybersecurity that has been designed quite well, because I can talk so much about how it's implemented, but it's well designed and it doesn't require so much effort for you. And cybersecurity should be always like that. Something efficient that doesn't require to make people learn about the way it works. It's the same thing with passwords. If you can't, don't use password anymore. It doesn't work. It's impossible. We have so many passwords. We put the same passwords over and over again. People ask you, cybersecurity people ask you to have strong passwords, meaning like very long passwords and complex passwords. We all have like maybe hundreds of websites or applications that requires passwords. If we want to have different passwords and strong passwords on all of these applications, it will not work. It's impossible to remember all of them. So what people do is using the same passwords. And it's like, it doesn't work. Because if you use the same passwords in one website that is being compromised, the attackers will be able to access your like other websites using the same passwords. So it doesn't work at all. And truly, one of the biggest challenge in the cybersecurity industry is to get rid of these passwords because it's the wrong solutions. And unfortunately, nowadays, you have lots of wrong solutions in the cybersecurity industries. And we are like, we are startups, try to change that. And this is one of our goals. Oh, and about the fundraising, we announced a 1.5 million euros fundraising at the end of September by very awarded venture capitalists. One European one, which is operating in Italy, in France, and in the Netherlands, and another one which is pure French, actually. And the goal of one thing which is very important about fundraising. When you read books about startups, when people teaching you about how to create companies, you have always a part of this course saying that, hey, you need to get finance and you need to get that from VC companies, like venture capitalist companies. And this is the way a startup works. I think it's another wrong way of telling you how to create your companies. Because I'm sure many companies doesn't require to have this kind of fundraising. You have to do it if you really know the purpose of it. Not because it's offer you to have some great news article in some famous newspapers. You don't do that because it will just get you more money. It has to be on a very specific purpose. And for Alsid, the purpose was to be able to recruit faster. When we released our first product, we experienced a very huge demand from our customers. Like almost the top 40 companies in France wanted, they're not all want, but almost, to acquire our product. But we were only 3 people at the time. So we weren't ready to offer the services and very high-end services to these companies with only 3 people in the company. That just don't work. So we needed to recruit faster. So one solution could have been to, say works with one large companies, get some money. We recruit people, like maybe 1 or 2 people with the money that we earn, then go back to see another companies, and we make a deal with the companies, get some money, acquires 1 or 2 person more, and work like that. It's gonna work for sure, but it will require lots of time to do it. And when you're startups, you have to act fast because you have innovation, something which is very different that you can find on the industries, but you also have competitors. And in the cybersecurity fields, we have very strong competitors. Mainly that are based in the US or in Israel as well. And these companies are like earning billions and billions of dollars. So when you have innovations that can be different for their products, they will be fast to react. They will try to copy your innovations. They will try to acquire your companies or anything that they can do to prevent them from losing some market share. So when you start up, you have to act fast. You have to act fast to acquire lots of market share, to be able to resist against some acquisition proposals or to be already in place when they will be able to offer the same product as you or a copycat of your product. So this is why we need to recruit fast, because we need to capture the market as fast as we can. So we did some fundraising for that. We need to fundraising to have the money to be able to recruit 10 people or like 20 people in 2 years. This is our goals, and this is why we did it. And we think that by recruiting these people, we will be able to address more customers and be able to expand faster, which is our main strategy right now. I'm talking a lot about my customers. So I have 3 on these slides, which is Sanofi. I think you know about this company, and maybe the other 2, or maybe Airbus as well, the aircraft manufacturer and helicopters manufacturers, which is protected by companies. And another one, which is famous in France, but maybe not worldwide, which is called Vinci. Obviously, we have other customers, but in the cybersecurity field, we cannot talk too much about our customers. They are like very afraid about that, because they know that they are afraid that if someone is able to compromise Alsid, maybe they will be able to go in our customer networks. So they don't want to know that they are customers. But anyway, I'm proud of being able to talk about this 3-1, which is some of the first customers that we had at the very beginning. One thing which is very important when you are an entrepreneur is the fact that you need to have peer validations. You need to have people saying that this technology is very good, especially in the cybersecurity field, because security is all about trust. Yeah, you can have the best product, you can have the best marketing campaign, you can have the best salespersons, but at the end, especially when you talk to boards, when you talk to C-level, they will only acquire you if they trust you. So creating this trust is the most important things to do. Unfortunately, we are still a startup. So we don't have a huge business line or amount of money to invest in creating these trusts. Large companies can do many things, like creating private events with C-levels of these companies. They can create trade show with their names. They can have like huge marketing campaigns to try to create this trust. But us, we can't. So we have to fight differently. We have to fight with our own weapons, and we have 2 kinds of weapons that we can use. If you are willing to work in the entrepreneur worlds, you're probably aware that there are many startup contests all over the world, and these contests are, in most of the time, sponsored by large corporates. So one thing that could be very interesting is to make this to work. To do this contest and try to win it, because you know that you will get some prize and you will be happy with that, and you will be able to take lots of pictures and everything will be great. But it's not the point. The point is the fact that you will be able to meet with these strategic people, and you will have a unique opportunity to have 15, 20, 30 minutes with them. And at this specific time, you should be very focused and to create this trust. And if these people remember you by the end of the day, you won, because you will be able to send them an emails and they will be answering you, because they will remember that they have been seeing you in this specific contest. And this is how we do. It doesn't cost so much money, only time, which is kind of precious for us, but still, it's not costly. And by using this way of acting, we'll be able to connect with some C-level, and then can create your networks. They like to do introductions, so they introduce you to their networks, and it works like that. So we won almost every security contest in French, in France actually. You have 2 which is very famous. probably never heard about it, but it's very famous. The first is the Banking Cybersecurity Innovation Awards. It's a contest organized by Société Générale, which is a large bank in France. We won it in spring 2017, and that gave us a lot of trust, because when a bank which is supposed to know quite well about cybersecurity say, this is the best product I've seen for like 5 years, create trust with other bank or other industry that think that they are like, they know what they say, basically. The other one, it's called Prix l'Innovation, which is also a very famous one. The people in charge of security in industry are called CISO, Chief Information Security Officer, and this CISO have one, like let's say, trade show or conference once per year, and they organize some contests. We won it as well, and it's quite nice because we were able to talk to almost every CISO in France at that time. So once again, very huge impact, and we had a very nice opportunity to connect with them and start to talk about our products. And the last one, it's different one. It's called Black Hat. It's also very important. It's a technical conference, like worldwide conference about cybersecurity. I think it's the biggest one around the world. It's like every year in Las Vegas, nice place as well. And you have like all the cybersecurity experts that come to this specific place for like 1 week or something. And they are like attending conferences about cybersecurity technical subjects. And each year you have something that we call call for papers, when security researchers apply for presenting their works to the community. If they get selected, they will have some very nice keynotes in the specific events where like all of the security experts will be attending. As you can imagine, we applied for a conference in Black Hat. We were selected last year, and our security researchers, Romain Coltel, that Anne-Sybille talked a little bit before, give a very nice show on this conference, and that brings us trust from the technical guys, which is also very important, because they will not be the decision maker at the end, but they will talk to the people that will make decisions. And that's really important to have support from them as well. And building our networks and in the C-level and building our networks from the technical parts help us to be like very efficient and be able to create deals with these large corporates. You don't try to send them emails or anything. They will not work. Only networks will do. So you have the management team of Alsid right there, but I'm not going to talk about that. We'll talk about Dementors, which is also a very important part of the success of Alsid, beginning of the success of Alsid. Emmanuel and I wasn't meant to be entrepreneurs. Alsid is our first companies. We never had experience before. But we knew how we can solve issues in cybersecurity. But we needed to have people that help us to make this idea a real company and profitable companies. And instead of trying to reinvent everything, we tried to connect with people that had this experience of creating very profitable business, and that was very successful. And we finally managed to get close to these 3 guys, which are very important for us. The most important one is Pierre Paulette. You probably never heard about him, but this is, I guess, one of the most successful cybersecurity company in France. It has been acquired by Orange, I don't know, the telco operators, like 1 year ago, but it has tremendous success in Europe and even in the States. So we are very proud to work with him, and it gives us so many advice about how we can run our companies. And the thing which is very important is the fact that it's not advice that you can find on books. It's like ground, like a field advice. When you have some issue, let's say, this prospect doesn't answer your email anymore, or they are feeling that your product is too expensive and they don't want to acquire. What can you do? If you read on the books, they will say, oh, you need to negotiate, and this stuff, and this kind of information. Pierre will be able to provide some intel that are very different, that came from his experience. He will say that, okay, you should try to enter in this specific club of user, for example, user club, because he knew that this specific target will be attending this specific club. And we will be able to have the opportunity to talk with him again and connect with him. So it's very specific advices that you cannot find anywhere else. And I guess that it's strategic for entrepreneurs to find these specific mentors to create the products. So to create a very successful companies. So this is Pierre. You have Jérôme Billois, which help us with the PR part, which is also very important in our companies, and Pascal Aimant, which is a former VP sales at Cisco, which help us and help Anne-Sybille to design our business model. And because we have a very specific business model, we don't do direct sales as many startups do. We don't believe that it's going to work when we will be like growing. We do indirect sales. I don't know if you are familiar with that, but it means that we never sell our product to our end user. We don't go to see Airbus and say, oh, I need you to acquire our products. It doesn't work like this. We have created some network of partners, mainly cybersecurity product resellers, that will be doing like the commercial part of our deal. The idea is to be able to address a larger market. If we were trying to do direct sale, it will be Anne-Sybille that will need to visit every large companies in France or in Europe or in world. It doesn't work. We had to, if we were in this specific strategy, we need to require like to recruit lots of people, like have a huge human resources part in our companies, and that could be very challenging and difficult to achieve when we are like still growing and still inexperienced. We thought that we should rely on this specific reseller, integrator of products. That's the word that we use, and they already know like so many companies in France because they are already working with them, and they have the resources, the internal resources to address like lots of people and lots of companies nowadays. So better to try to like work with them and benefit from their already made networks. And this is the thing that we do. We are working with Orange, which is the telco and that I've mentioned before. We are also working with Thales, which is a very large company in France working in the defense sector. And this is how we can sell our products in many companies without requiring to have so many people working in Alsid. So about our story, quickly, as I said, we have been created in 2016. Only 3 months after, we were able to make a deal with a first large company. You maybe wonder how we were able to do it. Kind of simple. When we create our company, we already had the famous MVP, our first product to sell. We have been working and developing it before creating the companies, during nights, weekends, holidays, at this specific time. We created the company when we were ready to sell our product, and we found one customer that they were willing to be the first one and to test our products. So we found it 3 months after. 2 months after September, we were able to have our first international experience because our first customers talked about our technology to one of his networks, which were in Canada, and they were willing to test our products. So we are very happy because our goal is to make an international company, not a French one, and being able to have first international experimentations only 5 months after the beginning of our story was quite great for us. At the beginning of January 17, we were working to recruit our core team. This is when Anne-Sybille joined us because we really need someone to create our business model and to make it work. And she really helped me with that. Really helped us with that. In April, we were able to reach 250,000 euros of revenue, which is quite nice in only 10 months. Then in September, we announced on fundraising announcements, and business was trying to start very fast. Only a few months after, we reached 750 euros of revenue, and right now we are about 1 million. Recently, as I said, we were talking at Black Hat, and our goal for the end of the year or end of summer will be to be around 20 to 25 people in Alsid, because we have huge ambitions about our products. We have lots of demands from our customers, and as I said, our main main challenge is to be able to recruit more people, and I guess it will become more and more easy because we are creating a very strong brand awareness about what we do in our specific field of work, and people start to know about our companies. One thing that I was very proud recently, is something very stupid, but still it makes me proud, is the fact that I went to a meeting, and that wasn't like a meeting that I organized. I was invited by some people, and the guy in front of me on the tables had a pen with work Alsid on it, which was written Alsid on it. And I never give him the pen, meaning that everything that we are building starting to work. People are trying to know the companies, and they are trying to they get familiar with it. It's very great because having people know about that, it's something, meaning that when they will have the issue, when they will be willing to have better cybersecurity, they will know you and they will be able to get in touch with you. And that's something that we are very, very happy about it. Obviously, we also had some, lots of press articles. It's something that every startup do because it helps us to increase our brand awareness that I was mentioning in last sentence. We use any way of getting this press article. We don't hire PR person, so someone which is trying to get the article from newspapers. We are working on our own, and the thing that we do is we are trying to make to do outbound marketing, and we are trying to create something that will buzz. For example, you probably never heard about that, but you had a very innovating cyber attack that has been targeting large companies recently. And we were the first company in the world to release products, open source products, to help companies to fight against this specific attack. We provide open source products that help them to protect themselves against this specific attack. We are the first of offering this kind of solutions. So obviously we were visible, we had a very strong visibility. We had lots of interviews with international newspapers and everything. And that was our goal, releasing a product that will be free and free to use. And at the specific moment when the company needed this tool, that was a very nice success for us. And this is how we can create buzz about our companies and get attention to it. So I think that's it for the companies. I will talk more about the things that we do now in the cybersecurity field, because I guess it's something that you want to know as well. Talking about security, but what are we really doing in Alsid? I think you know about that, but in the last months and years, you have many large companies that have been continuously targeted by cyber attacks. You only had to open newspapers and you will get some articles saying that, oh, for example, Adobe or Sony or Dropbox or Yahoo has been compromised by cybersecurity attackers. The cost of cybersecurity for this company is around $11.5 billion for largest companies. It's a huge amount of money, even for these companies. And the thing is, the cost of these damages is increasing through years because attackers are able to go deeper and deeper in the information system of the companies, and they are able to access even more sensitive data than before. So it costs lots of damages, financial damages, but also brand damages, because when you have, for example, Sony that's acknowledge that they have been compromised, obviously the brands will be damaged about that. And it's difficult to get to have numbers about the cost of the brand awareness damages. And the thing is, the thing which is kind of dramatic, I guess, is the fact that nowadays people think that they will not be able to protect themselves about attacks. You have a famous quote from the former director of the FBI saying that about company breach, it's no longer a when, no longer a if, but a when. Meaning that every company will be compromised at some point. Don't you think that it means that you are basically losing the battles? It basically means that people that are trying to defend, to create security boundaries are failing. So maybe it means that we didn't have the right approach. Maybe it means that the cybersecurity product that you are using, like the antiviruses, the firewall, like all of these products, maybe it doesn't work, and maybe it doesn't work specifically in the information systems of companies. So we need to rethink our strategies. And this is the thing that we did when we created Alsid. I didn't say too much about that, but before creating Alsid, I was working for the French agency in charge of cyber defense in France. And my job was basically to fight against these attackers. When attacks appears on information system, I had to comb in the companies, analyze how attackers was able to steal information or destroy data, and I had to create a plan to remove them from the information system and to make it resilient against new attack. So I really had the chance to see how attackers was working, and not like low-level attackers. It was like targeting attacks, meaning that it was very supported attackers which have lots of finance and be able to make very efficient attack and sophisticated attack as well. So I had the opportunity to see how this attack works for around 10 years. And then I realized that the modus operandi, the way that attackers was attacking the companies, was always the same. He had some common path that has been followed by these attackers, and one of these paths wasn't addressed at all. They didn't have any security products that prevent this path that has been used for years by attackers from being used for this by these specific attackers. You have always the same way of compromising companies, and it works for almost all companies. If you take a look to this slide, it basically represents how works information systems in large companies. It's basically lots of devices, tablets, a phone, like computers, laptops, and everything, and they are all interconnected. And right now, all cybersecurity products are trying to protect every one of these devices. But it's almost impossible nowadays. You have so many devices, like thousands and thousands of devices, and be sure that all of these devices will be applying the last patch available by the manufacturer of this service. Be sure that every one of these devices is using a robust passwords. It's impossible. even myself, I could forget to apply patch, and I will be able to be targeted by attackers by doing so. So it's almost impossible to have perfect security everywhere. So what can we do about that? The thing that the specific attack vector that we notice is the fact that at one point, all of the attackers will be doing the same thing. They will start by trying to compromise one device that didn't have any strong password, for example, and then they will rush to one central part of almost every company nowadays. It's something that's called Active Directory. You never heard about that, but this is the systems that distributes access rights on companies. Let's give you an example. When you work in large corporates, basically when you start working, you receive a laptop and a login and passwords, and every morning you open your laptops, you boot it, you enter your login and passwords, and then you have like your system that is starting to work. There is one component that validates the passwords that you are entering, and this specific component is called Active Directories. Each time you open your mailbox, you have behind Active Directory saying that you have the right to access this email, or you have the right to open these files. It's transparent for you, but you are using it like so many times per day. And all of the security of the company rely on these specific components. If an attacker is able to compromise this specific topic, this specific component, he will be able to say to the system, hey, I can access the mailbox of the CEO. I can access, I don't know, the file of the R&D part of the companies. I can say pretty much everything. And what attackers are doing, kind of simple. They find one laptop that didn't have a strong password or didn't apply patch. And then they rush to the specific components, which wasn't secure at all in large companies, take ownership on it, and then give them access to every resources in the information systems. And on these slides, you have like companies that have been successfully compromised because of the insecurity of these famous Active Directories. Google was the first to acknowledge a breach in their information systems because of an insecure AD. And over the years, you had other companies that have been targeted and successfully compromised by these specific attacks. The last one, which has been very famous, it took place during the US elections. You probably heard about Hillary Clinton's emails that has been stolen by attackers. How attackers was able to steal this email? It was because of an insecure AD, Active Directories. Attackers compromise it, give them access to Hillary Clinton mailbox, and they were able to access it and store it. So it's always the same things. And at Alsid, we are trying to work on this specific topic. We want to stop this specific bleeding, these issues, by preventing attackers from being able to access this specific AD. We want to detect these breaches before attackers are able to exploit them. And something which makes a difference in our specific field of expertise is the word before. Most security products are trying to detect issues when they appear. When you got viruses, you have your antivirusing saying you, hey, you have some issue on your laptops. But it's already too late because the viruses was already able to be on your computers. And maybe it did something before the antiviruses was able to see it, to spot it. So basically, it not works so much, so well. At Alsid, we think that we can make something better. I think we can prevent attackers from being able to put this malware, this virus, on your laptops. And this is the thing that makes us different from other security manufacturers or editors. is the fact that we were able to develop a technology able to anticipate such attacks. We need to see something that we call weak signals, saying that we think that if it's continue like that, the company will be attacked by this specific attack vector. So we anticipate where will be the next compromise or attacks in the information systems. And this is the works that this is the way that we works. And the best thing about our product is the fact that it is completely seamless. It's something which is very important, as I said at the beginning of my talk. We didn't want to make a security product that will be painful for our customers and for people that are using our solutions or employees that are using the information system of the companies. We wanted our product to be completely transparent for users. And we were able to do it because to deploy our solutions, it's very simple. You only need 30 minutes, like meetings with technical guys. Then we do some technical things. We do network interconnections. And then we have a project that is working. And we were able to find like where will be the next attack vector in the information system of our customers. Quite immediately. We only need like around 30 to 45 minutes to learn how works the network of our customers, and then we are able to protect them. Without requiring to train users, without requiring to deploy softwares, without requiring to do anything, any changes on the information systems. And it's truly something that's like changed everything in our industries. We basically took everything that you are using on your smartphone nowadays. Something that we call cloud computing, software as a service, intelligence, artificial intelligence, and stuff like that. And we put it on a cybersecurity product. And that's different because in the cybersecurity industries, unfortunately, as I said, the technology was quite old. We had some very strong product that requires to install the products on every devices and stuff like that. It wasn't friendly at all, and it was like so painful for corporates. So we wanted to redesign that. We didn't want to have very like nice security solutions to prevent like advanced attack, but we also wanted to make it easy to use. And one thing that had participate of making Alsid a success was this specific part. Because when you are very small and you want to work with large corporates, if you need to have 6-month project to deploy your technology in these large corporates, people in front of you will say, oh, no, it's too difficult. That will take so much time to my team. They don't have time to do that. So come back in a few months and maybe we'll talk. But with the way that we have been creating our products, they only need like 30 minutes, let's say 1 hour, to try our products. And they will have 1 hour for you. And during this 1 hour, you will have to be very efficient efficient to deploy a product. But if it works, it's going to be tremendous success for you, because we'll be providing them some new information, some new way to protect themselves in only 1 hour without requiring so much effort for them. And that will be your chance to start working with these companies. And this is how we were able to deploy so fast in large companies. In addition of creating of network, obviously. So finally, what are our value proposal at Alsid? Kind of simple. Security incidents cost lots of money for customers. We are like lowering the cost of this security incidents by preventing any cybersecurity attacks on these networks. Also, something that is not know so often, is the fact that when you had targeted attacks, it costs lots of money for the companies, as I said, but it's also it creates like downsizing measures on the companies. meaning that they are firing lots of people because they are having less revenues, and they are reducing their job positions. So by preventing attacks, we also prevent downsizing measures, which is quite great. We also had, in a more business-related way, companies are mainly clueless against cyber attacks. We offer them a completely packaged and automated solutions that help them to be more resilient against such attacks. So we provide them value, and they like them as well. And recently, in the European part of the world, and mainly abroad as well, you have legal complaints issues that are being created by European Union. Basically, you have something that's called GDPR, and you probably heard about that in next months. It's a set of regulations forcing companies to protect your private data. It creates some new rules for large corporates, and we also help these companies to be compliant with the specific rules. So many interesting value proposal, but the thing that you need to remember if you want to sell products in the cybersecurity fields is the fact that CISO only look for two kinds of products. The product that will add value and more robust security boundaries, but also product that will be reducing them cost and help the companies to work faster, better, without spending so much money on the cybersecurity fields. Because one very difficult part about our sector, business sector, is the fact that cybersecurity does not create value by itself. It's not because you will be acquiring Alsid solutions that you will get more money and your company will not be better and have better revenue because you acquire solutions. So it's always a challenge when you work at C-level during boards or everything to explain to people that spending this amount of money by acquiring these solutions is the best thing that they can do to protect their companies and make it sustainable for the next years. Because if they don't spend this small amount of money, at the end of the day, at the end of maybe the decades, there will be strike by a cyber attack, and this attack will cost them so much money than the securitization that they could acquire at the time. We basically are an insurance, a specific kind of insurance, because we cannot be 100% sure that we'll block cyber attacks. But if you invest small part of money, you will, at the end of the road, will be able to save more. And this is the idea that we need to put on the head of this board and C-levels. And from time to time, it could be very challenging because, as maybe you don't really know anything about cybersecurity. You are good at running business, you are good at being an entrepreneur, but understanding all of the specific concepts behind the cybersecurity matters or subjects, it's something that could be really challenging. And even for experts, it's a very large topic, and it's very difficult to understand it very precisely. So I can imagine that for decision maker, it could be almost impossible to understand. So one challenge that we have are us, which are cybersecurity experts, is to make the thing that we do understandable by this kind of people, and it could be very difficult. I guess I'm talking a lot. I don't know if I still have time, or maybe we can just move to Q&A. I have a few slides, but I can just stop now. How would you like to do? I hope you are not sleeping. You want to get more slides? Yeah? Oh, yeah, I think I have 3 or 4 slides, but I'm talking a lot, so 3 slides I can hold.
Excuse me,
Yeah.
That we have a live session in YouTube.
Uh-huh.
A question.
Wow, live session in YouTube, great.
Are there special considerations for securing services in the cloud?
Oh yeah, there are kind of different services in the cloud, but the main difference between cloud and on-premises is the fact that by being in the cloud, you will be on the internet. You will not have physical access to the equipment that are hosted on the cloud. So it means that you will have other ways to secure them. You need to trust the company that is hosting your environment in the cloud. That's the first things. And creating trust means that you need to create rules and to create process to control that this company that is hosting your data is able to do it in a secure way. So it's lots of processes that you need to put in place, controls that could be automatizable. Yeah, it could be automated. Yeah, I don't know the English for that, but I'm losing it. But yeah, you need to create process, and you need to have frequent control about what this people is doing with your resources. And it could be really challenging because you don't see so much. You just say, okay, I need to put my website on the cloud and I want to put my application on the cloud. It works because it's the way it has been designed. It works quite well. But how is made the patch management? How can I be sure that my website is updated to be resilient against cyber attacks? We don't know that because it's never said. I mean, sure, on the contract you have a line saying that yeah, your website will be updated, but how can I be sure about that? And that's the main issue with the cloud. And the only way of doing it right now is to create these kind of processes and controls. It's mainly audit or security assessment control that you need to do frequently. Okay. Yeah?
So what you do to the company, is it purely software or also hardware as well?
Good questions. We are purely software because we rely on the cloud computing. We are using something that we call virtual machine, which is basically the same thing as having computers but having it on the cloud. So we have like some kind of Windows or Mac OS or anything, but on the cloud, and that helps us to scale basically when we are working in large companies. It could be like, let's say 500,000 people, or maybe like 100,000 people. So we need to scale our architectures on the size of the information system that we need to protect. And the other thing, which is very, very important, is the fact that we need to provide state-of-the-art security to our customers. And state-of-the-art in security can evolve quite fast. Every, let's say, weeks, you have a new new way of attacking customers, and we need to be really fast to react. We need to be really fast to implement a new detection techniques to be able to spot an attacker that would like to do this kind of attacks. And being in the cloud offers us this ability. We just need to work on a specific method, put it on the cloud, and all of our customers will be immediately protected. If we are using like the old way, which is called on-premise deployment, if it's like hardware that we put on the information system of our customers, when we need to be fast to react, it's just impossible. We need to like deploy also our updates all over the specific hardware, and it could take months. And the time is very crucial in cybersecurity, because finding new vulnerabilities, finding new way to attack computers, it's very challenging nowadays. It requires lots of efforts. And only few people in the world are able to find these new vulnerabilities. And they are like very impressive people, kind of people. But many attacks doesn't rely on new attack techniques. They rely on already known attack techniques. But they are like exploiting the fact that between the time of the attack technique is released and the time of everybody in the world will be protected against those attacks, it could be like weeks, months, or even years. And lots of attack techniques use already known vector. So using the cloud helps us to immediately protect our customers against this kind of behaviors. Thing that we can do if we are like on-premising using like hardware and stuff like that.
You said weekly there's kind of new threats, new ways to attack. But how do you get to know these kind of new attacks that are to come?
That's very interesting questions. It's all about network as well. Cybersecurity experts, we know each other. We are in specific committee that are not like, it's not commercial committee, it's very like between experts. And we exchange informations. And being in this committee, we can have informations about new attacks before they have been released. There's something called threat intelligence. So there are companies and researchers that are like looking over the shoulders of attackers without being spotted, and they try to see what they are doing before they are doing it. And when they detect a new attack, they inform other people in the industry about that. And this is how we can get information and solve them. But this is, it's not something that is given for free. You also have to bring value to these networks to be part of it. And for example, the thing that we do at Alsid is the fact that we have like very worldwide acknowledged security researchers that are known worldwide. And when a new attack appears, the team which is trying to fight the attacks maybe don't know everything about Active Directory that I mentioned before. But they understood that they see that attackers are trying to penetrate these specific systems. So they provide them information, they provide us information about the attacks, and our R&D team analyzes what attackers are trying to do. We find the weaknesses or the weak points that they are trying to exploit. And we provide these information to the networks, to our committees, to help the team to fight the attack. And this is how it works. It's just about exchanging information between experts to be ahead before attackers.
In this case, you may provide to your competitors information.
Yes, that's a good question. It's a very good question as well. Yeah, we can exchange information with our competitors as well. But you have different circle of informations. You will not, but it's, I mean, it's something very strange at the beginning when you thought about that. But yeah, one of my competitors is Microsoft, for example. But I think every 2 weeks I'm working with Microsoft engineers on specific topics. When it's different, I mean, like researchers are not like business developers, so they can exchange information that doesn't like interfere with the business parts of the companies. And being able to have the information doesn't mean that you will be able to detect it and be able to put it on your cybersecurity product to prevent an attack from happening. So, for example, Microsoft, which is one of our competitors, the only solution that he has is to make announce about the attack, saying that, oh, a new attack is occurring, and this is what you will need to do to protect yourself. But that's it. Us, we'll be able to provide solutions that will be able to block the attack before it could be happened. So yeah, you're right. We can exchange information with our competitors. Yeah.
During your presentation, you described how you are different because you prevent attack before they happen.
Yeah, exactly.
But there are some big players. They can also provide similar solutions. We all know big companies. They also have the money. So how are you dealing with this threat of big players?
Good questions. A good question as well. Right now, we are one of the only companies able to have technologies able to detect breaches before attackers. And the way that we are trying to protect against these big actors is by acquiring large market share. And this is our strategies. We have innovative solutions, and we want to have people lots of people using it to be able to say, hey, we are the leader on these specific markets. We are, if you think you all know about Gartners, the magic quadrants of Gartners, we want to be the first, we want to create our own magic quadrants and be identified as the leader in this market. As our technology, very new technologies, right? We still don't have any magic quadrant for our specific products, but when Gartners will come to us and say, oh, I would like to create a market for your specific kind of product, we need to be ready to be the first. And this is by being the first at working with lots of large companies in France or in Europe, for example. But the key is to act fast, because if we are too slow, the company will react. But one thing that you need to keep in mind, even if they could create almost the same product as we do, by, I don't know, recruiting like maybe 100 engineers working all day long about the same issue that we are trying to fight. Companies doesn't work like large companies, big actors like you mentioned, doesn't work like that anymore. They don't want to acquire technology, they want to acquire business. If you look at what the recent acquisition of Microsoft or Google or Apple, they don't want to acquire the technology. They want to acquire the technology that could be sold to other peoples. So if you just have technology, they will not fight against you because it will be too risky for them. Create a new product is something really dangerous. Even for Microsoft, they could lose lots of time and money on it. So they are not really willing to do that. They prefer to look at what you are doing, and if you are you have good technology, you have good business, and you are trying to steal customers from them, then they will try to acquire you. So even if we are dealing with large actors right now, they don't really try to react quite fast about the thing that we do. I hope I'm clear enough. Yeah.
I have two questions. One, is your solution patented?
Oh no, actually, this is one of our issues in France. In France, it's very difficult, or even in Europe, it's very difficult to patent software because it's associated as an ID, and you cannot get patent on ID. It's completely different than in the US, for example. So the thing that we do is that we gave the source code of our technology to some kind of agency, European agencies, that prove that we were the first of doing it. And if someone trying to make the exact same technology as us, we will be able to get in court to say that we were the first, and it's basically a copy of what we do. But it's not a patent, and it could be difficult to prove that. So we were really hard the owner of the technologies. But this is a strictly European issue, unfortunately. And as soon as we'll be working in the US, for example, and make research in the US, we will have lots of patents, obviously.
And your sales network, that you said you rely on indirect sales, is it linked to the strategy? You want to become a market leader? I'm not clear on that yet.
Yeah, that's another very interesting question. You have to make difference between two things about being the leader in a specific kind of product, which is not directly connected to our sales networks. So our sales networks help us to grow, to have more deals with lots of companies, but they will not help us to create innovative technologies that could be usable for our customers. This is our jobs. So networks will help us to sell our products, but they will be able to sell the product because we'll be the leaders. And this is in our specific topic, our field of expertise. And this is the thing that we do. We're trying to create the best product, the more efficient product, the product that answers our customers' needs. And by doing so, we'll be able to be the leaders, and then that will create some traction for our resellers that will be able to sell our product more easily.
Basically, you're outsourcing your sales force.
Yeah, it could be like that. You can see it like that, but it's not. Yeah, you can feel like that.
So it's cheaper on the overheads at the moment.
Yeah, because we don't need to hire lots of people for doing the sales job. We rely on it. Could be cheaper, but it's also very challenging as well. Because, for example, the partners that we have are like huge partners making lots of money. And when you come to see them and say, oh, I have very, very nice products, maybe if you are good, you will be doing 1 million of revenue. This is us. And you have others like antivirus vendors, for example. These specific companies will not say 1 million euros of products. They will say like 10 millions of euros or maybe 100 millions of license for this specific product, because everybody knows about that and everybody knows that they need this product. So for these resellers, it doesn't require so much effort to sell the products. So we had to make them understand that maybe at the beginning will not generate so much money, but it's just an investment that they need to do because they will be the first of selling the next generation security solutions, and then at the end of the day, they will be profitable of doing so. So it's not an easy task because you need to onboard them, make them like the technologies, and feel, and you need to convince them that they can like get some nice revenue by selling them, and then you need to continuously work with them. It's like it's one of the jobs of Anne-Sybille is to make our partners efficient about selling our products. They need to know that we are a product that is like growing fast and improving fast and answering new needs. So we need to interact quite frequently with this channel, it's the word that we are using, to make our partners aware about our products and to remember that when they will be meeting the CISO of the largest bank in France, they will have to talk about our technologies. Because if we don't do that, they will just forget us about and talk about the largest cybersecurity manufacturers that they use to sell, and which is quite easy for them to sell.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Yeah.
I was curious to know what's your pricing policy or way of doing it.
Yeah, about the business model, right? So as a software as a service kind of product, we are like working like with some kind of subscriptions. It's not really subscriptions because large companies doesn't like subscriptions. They are not able to subscribe to a product like we do. I mean, if they want to have a Netflix subscription, they just can't because it's like difficult for the buying process for them. So the thing that we do is to have some kind of yearly license that is automatically renewed by just some kind of emails or some kind of papers that the size of our customers need to send. And the price of this yearly license is based on the size of the information system that we need to protect, which is kind of market practice way of getting an estimations of how you can sell your product. It's also kind of efficient because when we are like working with small companies, they pay like less money than the largest one that we are.
Employees-wise or device-wise?
Good question as well. It's related to the thing that we are securing, and it's employee-based, basically, which is kind of relevant for our customers because it's kind of easy for them to compute these numbers, have these numbers, and it's also kind of relevant for us because the thing that costs money for us is the complexity of the information system that we need to monitor. And having the number of users mainly, in most of the case, reflects how complex will be the information system. If it's only 10 people, kind of easy. You will get 10 devices and maybe one server, and that's it. When you have like 100, it will be more challenging. You will have some different components that we need to look at. And when it's thousands of users, the largest networks that we are currently monitoring, it's 460,000 users. So it's huge information systems. Yeah. Yeah.
It was regarding where is your data stored? Do you have your own data center?
Oh no, we are relying on some cloud providers. It's the one that we are using. It's called Microsoft Azure. It's one of the most famous ones. The only challenge that we have is the fact that when we deal with cybersecurity, we have strong regulations saying that you cannot host your data in a country which is not the same as like the customer that you are working with. Good thing is Amazon and Microsoft have data centers almost everywhere in the world. Microsoft is opening 2 new data centers, one in Paris, the other one in Marseille, lucky one. And this is how we can work. And the good thing is it's completely transparent. We have customers in the US, okay, we just need to change one thing in our deployment approach, and then the data will be hosted in the US. You have a French customers, same things. We have German customers, we have like customers from China, all the same for us. Yeah, another good aspect about being in the cloud.
I'm curious to know how dangerous is it to have one cybersecurity company providing services to many different firms?
Yeah, another very interesting questions because as we are connecting to the security of many companies, you can think that if you are able to compromise Alsid, you will be able to compromise every company that we are like monitoring or supervising their security. And that's right. In the past, you have famous cybersecurity editors that have been compromised and that have been used to compromise other companies. At Alsid, we are very aware about this risk. And the thing that we do is the fact that we are using completely separate infrastructures for each of our customers. If someone is able to compromise one customer, he will never be able to go to another one because it's completely different architectures. It's like having one physical server and one other one completely different for new customers without using the same networks or internet connections, completely different. There's only one issue, the fact that we need to work on these specific architectures. So we have connections to these infrastructures. So if you were able to access not these computers but another computers, you could be able to access these servers. So how we can work with that? One other simple questions. We need to have strong security boundaries. Right now, if you steal my laptops, will not be able to access anything because you will need to have my smartphone. And even if you steal my smartphone, you will need to have something in my mind, which is the passwords that encrypt every data in everything. So it's doing something that it's called defense in depth, which is a way of thinking cybersecurity by adding security measures on every logical part of the networks that prevents someone from being able to access it. And it's easy. It's much easy to do it our way because we have one portal that handles the whole securities than for large companies because large companies have thousands of employees. Us, we only have one central point that can access our data, and it's like very well secured. You have some kind of certifications which is worldwide known, that you need to that force you to be to have strong security boundaries, basically. And our company is the process of getting these certifications to prove to our customers that the way that we are protecting ourselves are like in the standards and in the state of security. So, very challenging topic as well.
My question is a bit of an extension of his question.
Oh yeah?
Yeah. So I apologize before if you like take it personally or something.
No, it's okay.
But
Okay.
given that you are in a very strategic niche sector and there are
Right.
very few players like you,
Mhm.
then how would it stop the players like you from playing both sides? As in, you supply the sword and the shield because you know the hackers who are trying the advanced techniques and you know how to stop them. What stops you from financing the war, as to speak?
That's very interesting questions. It's true. If we know how to protect information system, we also know how to attack them.
Yes, and you know what the hackers are doing. So, not you, I'm saying you, someone
Yeah.
may feel the need to supply some information
You're right.
to them and to propagate the entire business cycle as you.
Exactly. And this is, we came back to the trust issue that I mentioned before. If someone get caught of financing some attackers to compromise one's companies to sell the product before, they will lose trust and nobody will be willing to do that. Maybe some cybersecurity editors are doing that, I don't know. But if they are doing that, if they get caught, they will lose their business. So are you ready to take this risk? Up to you. But yeah, you can't be sure. All right, I think that's it. Thank you very much for your attention. And yeah.
Maybe we have small time to share a pizza and some drinks.
Oh yeah, some drinks,
Yeah.
very important.
I guess you are all hungry.
I think so. I'm not sure.
Not really. But
Yeah, feel.
I'm Veronica.
Nice to meet you.
I'm a researcher here in decision science at HEC,
Okay.
but I also